Are you ready to conquer your worries and anxieties and mom guilt? There are 3 tools that you can use right now that will help you to stop worrying and start living. I learned these back when I was struggling as a mom and as a wife because my husband had had this pornography addiction all of our marriage and way before that. And I kept telling myself it was going to get better, it was going to get better, it was going to get better. And it just wasn't getting better. And I kept feeling betrayed and I kept not knowing how to handle it properly. And I use these 3 tools to work my way through this situation for myself and come out so much better on the other end. So the first thing that I did was I took this first tip. I wrote down what the worst case scenario was. The worst case scenario for me was that my husband was going to be an addict for the rest of our marriage. And I sat with that and I thought about that and I did the second thing, and that was I reconciled myself to the very worst thing that could happen. I recognized that my husband was a good man, that he loved me, that he loved our children, that he was trying his best, that we were looking for solutions, that he wasn't going to give up, that he didn't want me to give up, and that even if he was an addict for the rest of our lives, we could still have a happy marriage and a happy family. And I reconciled myself. Finally, once and for all, I sat with myself and I knew I was going to live with an addict for the rest of my life. But then I did the third thing, and that was I did everything in my power from that moment on to lessen the worst case scenario. So we still looked for answers. We still worked on relationship principles. We still found ways to move forward in our lives and make things better and try to figure out how to not make that worst case scenario come about. And you know what? We did find the principles of addiction recovery, and he does have permanent sobriety. And so there was a beautiful miracle that took place. But the most important thing that happened for me was that in that moment, when I was sick and tired of carrying around the worry and anxiety of my husband's pornography issue that I had been carrying for well over a decade, I just used these 3 tools. I wrote down the worst case scenario, I reconciled myself to it, and then I tried to find a way to make things better. And if you want to know more about these 3 tools and how to use them in your life, listen to my most recent podcast, How to Conquer Your Worries and Anxieties.